The second reason you are an infinitely important person is because essentially what you are is a vast vessel of biological memory, and this memory is infinitely important to life itself. Now, this memory that you're made of is created continuously in the present moment, and for us to see ourselves as a creator of a storer of and a utilizer of pure memory, we need to see that there is a fundamental function and process that life is continuously engaged in the present moment. All forms of life share this fundamental function, and this is essentially the creation of memory. But it's a bit of a complex process to explain, but I'll give it my best shot. So, in order to see yourself as a creator of and storer of infinitely important memory, and a utilizer of, because that's a really important part of the story as well, you need to see yourself as the body of life. Your body is a representation of the whole of life, just like all bodies are. All individuated representations of life are different expressions of the one thing that life is, the value-driven phenomena that loves experience itself. And that body in which you are, you can view as a perceiver, because all bodies perceive, and all life perceives through the interaction it has with the outer environment, and that interaction occurs through whatever bodily senses it has to sense the outer world around them. So you need to see yourself as fundamentally a perceiver that creates perception. And in order to create perception, which all life does and is always doing, all bodies of life must be able to metabolize information, which leads me to a model of basically how life functions, created by the late Polish psychiatrist and philosopher Antoni Kaczynski. And he made it very clear, and this is an amazing observation, and again, stupidly self-evident when you simply objectively observe really what you are and what all life is always doing. You can see that you as a vessel of biological memory you're an information processor, okay, which creates this current experience of the present moment. And what I mean by that is around you at all times is a infinite field of information. That's what the outer world essentially is constructed of, is infinite potential information. So you could view it as the outer can be characterized as chaotic, indeterminate possibility. And as perceivers, as this body, we are constantly moving forwards into that field of potentiality. As bodies, though, we in order to maintain survival and to construct a perception of reality which also aids in our survival and evolution, we need to be able to collapse this indeterminate information into determined information. That is essentially what you're doing in the present moment at all times via your senses and your senses' interaction with the outer world around you. So you get a stream, you're constantly receiving a stream of information from the outer world, which you can view as more potentiality, because it creates the present moment, and sort of half of the present moment you can view as being made up of as chaotic potentiality, which streams in from the senses. And once your senses interact with that information and becomes internalized as memory, that in order for that information to be laid down as meaningful, purposeful memory, it needs to be transformed from chaotic possibility into orderly possibility. Another way of saying that is essentially transforming potential into actual, potentiality into actuality. It's a transformation of information. You're metabolizing information. You're bringing order and predictability and organization to information that is essentially sort of lacking that as you come in contact with it in the present moment. So in the present moment, you hierarchically order this information based on the two fundamental biological laws that we talked about in the previous video. So again, these values which underpin the structure of perception itself, these two values, you can see how ridiculously important they are to the very existence of life itself. Because without these values that essentially judge, I guess, essentially allow for the integration of new, fresh possibilities that are always making up your current experience. Without those values ordering that information, then the body itself, the body breaks down. Essentially, the body and the perception of which it creates breaks down and stops functioning, stops existing, essentially. And remember, we know that above these two biological values is a unified value of self-love, of loving self, of loving that what you are, but also there's an equally strong love that your beingness expresses for experience itself, because you can see here these biological laws ensure that experience is maintained, and not just maintained, but it continues to expand into the indeterminate future. So you really need to take a deep breath and consider the reality of what I've just described, because this is biology 101, and certainly is just very well known factual information. The fact that you order upon information coming into your experience, and therefore you creating memory from it, creating orderly memories that are imbued with meaning and purpose, is what you essentially do in every present moment. And in order for you as a body, as a perceiver, to do this, a countless many processes, calculations, decisions need to be made by your fundamental life value system in order to meaningfully store it. And when I say meaningfully store it, I mean it has to be stored. The memories and information that you create in the present moment has to be stored in such a way that allows you to easily recall important information that serves to protect the striving and fulfillment of these values. So that's an immense process. That's that process of information metabolism that is going on in every present moment. You transforming potentiality into actuality on levels of complexity that is far beyond your comprehension. Like, it's an amazing thing that every life body does in every present moment to organize chaotic information into orderly internal information. And another thing that's really important to understand here is this orderly state of equilibrium within you that the body must create and actively achieve in every present moment is the achievement of homeostasis. And homeostasis is essentially finding that state of equilibrium within the body, which allows it to continue being a body and to continue creating a perception of the outer world. So this homeostasis, this is it's fundamentally an emotionally constructed sense that all life is grounded by. When homeostasis is out of whack, meaning basically your emotions are signaling that, it might be a fear-based thing, you might be in danger. When your emotions are signaling that you can sense there's potential for something to threaten the striving for life values or values that you've personally constructed, that creates a homeostatic imbalance within you. And the only way to restore that is to fulfill competently through choices and behaviors and the use of your attention to satisfy those biological and other values in that way. So what is very important to get here is that your body deeply requires this process to happen in order for life itself to continue being. So when you evaluate this process and consider its reality, you can see how it's all managed in such a way, totally without your conscious powers intervening with this, by the way. This is all sort of unconscious. This is all very much related to the fundamental reasons you exist. When you see that, you can understand how life deeply values the present moment and the creation of the present moment, and holds on to the memory of the present moment forever. And that is what you essentially are constructed of, these memories that are with you forever and never forgotten. Like the fundamental being that you are never forgets anything. It's all stored meaningfully and perfectly within you because it's all valued infinitely. And another way in which we can see this as being fundamentally true is you just have to look at how embryos develop You can see basically the memory of life itself being activated through the creation. Like once someone becomes pregnant and a zygote is formed within them, that zygote undergoes basically a visual history of life itself as it goes through. We look like many other fetuses on our progression towards what a human fetus looks like. And also if you look at the structure of the brain, the structure of our brains are layered with our biological history, and you can see there the memory of what we are goes all the way back to the inception of life. And therefore the memories that have been created along the way are infinitely important to life itself and within you. And that, I think if you meditate on that you are of pure memory, and you go through the process of meditating, which is essentially remembering that which you are, that's when you can wake up layers of the potentiality that these memories of life lay down. Because every present moment that is laid down within you is ordered within you in such a way for you to utilize the potentiality of that memory. That is how you are structured, essentially, as the memory of life. You can tap into what the utility that each present moment has. You can tap into that by remembering that which you are, and you can use this whole store of memory and potential within you to then, of course, wake up to the truth of your identity, and you can start to manifest to the utmost of your potential the best possible life, selfless, sacrificial life that you can possibly create. So that is the second reason why you are infinitely important.